So today's topic, we're going to be talking about budgeting. So I know finance is a very touchy subject with a lot of people because it just brings so much stress into people's lives. And I'm hoping that the video today can help alleviate some of that stress or give you a little insight or maybe help stop you from making a bad decision before you make it. So throughout the years, I have learned a lot when it comes to financing, mostly through failures, classes, research, and even myself hitting rock bottom. I want to share some of that knowledge in hopes that it'll help others to make better choices, help others who are already feeling like they're drowning, and even I want them to be able to take back their lives and make a better life for themselves just by doing a few simple things with their finances. Unfortunately, none of my schools ever taught me how to handle money, how to create a budget, or even how to save. If I had money, I spent it. I never saved any of it. So in college, I got my first credit card without really understanding that rabbit hole of debt that a credit card will put you into. Side note, if you don't have a credit card, don't get a credit card. Also, with no savings, I had to borrow all of my money for school. And all that debt added up till it felt like I was drowning. When it got to the point where I couldn't even afford to buy food, I knew something had to change. So I started looking through online classes and researching and tips and tricks and seminars, TED Talks, and so much more. I knew that I wanted to understand finances better and kind of get a better grasp on my life and my finances, because the fear of not knowing when you'll get your next meal is petrifying and very, very stressful. In my search, I found Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey. Of course, I had heard of it before. My parents had taken it while we were at church, but I was always paid to watch the kids in the nursery. So, this time I did the course for myself, and I was finally able to figure out what it is I wanted from my money, what I wanted to do with my finances. I learned how to kind of start creating that budget through their teachings and kind of come up with a financial plan for my future. Getting my life back on track definitely wasn't quick and it wasn't easy. So first, the thing I did was I listed all the debts that I owed and all the stuff that I was behind on. And then I started paying attention to where I was spending. Was I buying too much on Amazon and then selling it a month later? And I started trying to make smarter choices. I would only buy stuff that would make me happy. I really got into the minimalist during this time. I saw a YouTube documentary with them, and they said, keep stuff that brings joy to your life. And I was like, I started going through my room and I was like, what brings me joy? What's just kind of sitting on a shelf as decorations? And I went through all that, sold what I could, and I started paying down whatever I could and getting out of the red. For the next several years, I was able to pay down several bills and pay off several credit cards and finally find that breathing room that I had been craving. I was no longer scared about where my next meal was coming from, was I going to be able to pay rent, and kind of how to stretch every single dollar that came in. That was very stressful. I was able to relieve some of that stress with getting some of those bills paid off with my focus. While I'm not financially free yet, I am getting that way. In 2019, I started financial coaching through my website, and I found out that I loved helping others kind of find that same calmness and peace. Even though that they're not fully out of debt, they know where they were going, they know where they want to be, and they had that plan laid out for them. Let me show you how I budget. First off, everyone has a different goal when it comes to money. Before you even start to budget, you need to know what your goals are, what's most important to you, and where you want to be. I've always loved starting small and going from there. So when you're writing down your goals and your money goals, make sure you write smaller goals that lead up to larger ones, because you want to have those little stepping stones that you can celebrate. Like, hey, I just put $500 on my credit card, or hey, I didn't go over my overall balance even when the interest hit my credit card. Like, celebrate those little things. Enjoy those little things, because those things are showing you that you're making progress towards your larger goals. The next step in budgeting is building your emergency fund. The first time hearing about having an emergency fund was when I was doing Financial Peace University, and since then that fund has saved me more than once, including when I got laid off last year and I was out of work for over 2 months. I know to some this will seem unnecessary. Honestly, I thought so at first. All I wanted to do when I was motivated, I just wanted to dive in. I wanted to knock out my O's, and I wanted to get out of the red, and I wanted to like find that peace so quickly. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna trust this, and I'm gonna try it. So I started doing an emergency fund, and it saved me so many times. Like, I couldn't imagine what would have happened if I didn't have that fund, because that fund created a sense of stability. Because if something happened out of the blue, something that wasn't planned, I no longer had a panic attack. I no longer had to worry, well, which bill is not going to be paid because my tire busted and I had to buy 2 new tires, and I didn't have that worry anymore. So before you start paying down your debts, you need to have an emergency fund. Many people recommend between $1,000 to $1,500, depending on how large your family is and how much you spend. Personally, even though I'm single and I'm by myself, I went with the $1,500 just because I wanted that extra sense of security, and I knew that with $1,500 I could survive at least 3 months and not fall behind on my bills. I wouldn't have to worry about food. It was like a very good safety net. So I went with the $1,500. Just do what is right for you. So our next step is creating a budget. Personally, I like to use Microsoft Word, and then at the very top I have a table where I list all of my O's and debts. I usually put rent and utilities at the top, and if you have a car loan, I would put that at the top as well, and then list everything from smallest to largest, or organize it to however fits your financial needs and goals. I know some people prefer alphabetically after that, or by how much the minimum payment is, or even how much the bill is. For me, my goal is to be financially free and focus on saving for travel. So to accomplish those priorities, paying off my credit cards was the goal. So I make the minimum payment on everything and then throw all the extra money onto my smallest credit card bill until it's paid off. Then I take what I was paying on that bill and apply it to the next bill that I plan to pay off. So for creating my budget, I write down all of my paycheck dates and what I get in each check. The first thing out of that check, of course, is rent and utilities. And if you have a car payment, that should come out first as well. And then from there, you start minimum payments on the rest of your bills, and then of course the extra that you have left over, put it onto the bill that you're focused on paying off, as long as your emergency fund is already created. If you don't have a lot of extra money right now to pay down other bills, or you want to start paying stuff down faster and just don't have time to pick up a second or a third part-time job, take a look at your monthly spending. For me, I stopped doing multiple monthly streaming sites. I pick 1, maybe 2 at max. I don't do the automatic renewals, because if I watch everything I want in 1 month, I'm not going to renew at that streaming site. I may use a different streaming site that next month, just to kind of get a little bit of variety. Also, go through your house, plan for a yard sale, sell on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. I can't tell you how many times I've sold my Funko Pops or my Disney stuff online. I've even sold large bundles of clothes that didn't fit or I didn't like, that were just taking up space. If you don't use it, why keep it? I know this is hard to say, or I know this is hard to believe, but slow and steady wins the race. When I started this process, this journey, I never thought I'd be to where I am now. I never thought I'd be able to live on my own, be able to pay rent and not fall behind on my other bills. I never thought I'd get out of my credit card debt. I've canceled and gotten rid of 3 cards already. I'm paying off my last bill. I've already closed that account. But that sense of freedom when you've closed an account, when you have paid something off, when you're able to kind of have a little bit more breathing room when your check comes in, or be like, hey, you know what, this month I'm just making minimum payments on everything because I want to save a little extra money because I want to go to this festival, or I want to go to a concert, or, you know, you got to treat yourself a little bit as well, but make sure that you're not falling behind. Make sure that you're not going to go in the red just to treat yourself. But when you're able to pay down some of those bills and get some of that wiggle room, you are able to do more things. And I find stuff that's free, where maybe the only thing you pay for is food. So I live in Orlando, so as you can see from all of my other videos, there are tons and tons of festivals in Orlando, and most of them are free. So I go there, I walk around, I enjoy hearing the music, I enjoy seeing the different cultures, and about the only thing I do is I pay a little bit of money for some food, which I would have paid for food anyway. I know it can be frustrating at first, especially when you're motivated and the numbers aren't coming down as quickly as you're wanting. I'm very impatient. I want to see results like immediately. So I had to set myself even smaller little goals, just to be like, hey, I did it. I accomplished something. Something was being done. And then as I started seeing that, and I started seeing the numbers going down, and I started seeing, hey, I just deleted an entire line because I just paid off this credit card, or I just paid off this car bill, or I just paid this other bill down. It is so gratifying, and it's very uplifting. Just remember, it's one step at a time, and before you know it, you're going to be closer to your goals. You're going to be on that airplane going abroad. You're going to be traveling across the world. You're going to be going on a hiking trip. Like, whatever it is that you want to do. My thing, obviously, as you just heard, is travel. Whatever makes you happy, use that as a motivator to get your bills paid down. Use that as a motivator to say, hey, you know what? I don't need to go to McDonald's today. Instead of spending $15 at McDonald's, I'm gonna put that $15 in my savings, or I'm gonna put that $15 on my credit card, and I'm gonna get this paid down quicker, and I'm gonna go do something that makes me happy. Look at it that way. You can do this. You can make it through. You can get this budget done, and you can get to where you want to be financially. I have faith in you. Thanks for watching this video, and I really hope that it helps you in the long run.